Michigan University. I majored in sport management with a minor in marketing, and I was also a student athlete there. I played field hockey at the Division I level. And yeah, so like that's a little bit of my background. I studied sport management, kind of quickly learned that I wanted to work in sports in some realm. Obviously, being a college athlete, I felt like I got that college athletics experience and realized, I wanted something more. And I also was a really creative person. So I knew I kind of wanted to go into that marketing realm, and obviously decided to do professional sports. So I actually had an internship with the Detroit Pistons the summer going into my senior year. And I was a brand and event marketing intern at the time. It was my first marketing internship. I loved it. I was able to learn a lot. And then I went back and had my senior year and was fortunate enough to be brought back on full time once I graduated.
Awesome. Just hearing, go ahead, Nick. Go ahead.
Okay. What I was going to ask, I guess we could say, let's start from the beginning. You mentioned that you were a college athlete. I guess my question is, what sports did you play as a young kid, and when did you find that passion?
Yeah. So, as a young kid, I started like in soccer and gymnastics, like pretty much the very basic ones. I feel like that you get thrown into when you're young. I did decently well at soccer, but I didn't love it. But I started playing field hockey when I was in 5th grade. It's not a very common sport everywhere. It's a very big East Coast sport, but it has branched into Michigan. Ann Arbor, Michigan specifically has a really big hub of field hockey, which is where I grew up. So I started that sport in about 5th grade, and I actually played basketball as well. So I did field hockey and basketball from middle school to high school. And it was probably my like freshman, sophomore year of high school where I realized that like I had the skill to go play in college. So at that point, I joined a club team and, started getting recruited and scouted by coaches and players not coaches and players, just coaches. And then that's kind of how I was able to go to Central and play.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you said now you're doing marketing and event planning for the Pistons, which is phenomenal. What for you playing athletics, what are some of the similarities you've seen and now in the marketing field and when your athletic career, and what have those things kind of coincided, and what have you learned in kind of both, and have you used some of those lessons that you learned at being a collegiate athlete, and have you applied that now to marketing now with the Pistons?
Yeah, definitely. So obviously it's very different from collegiate to professional sports, whereas, collegiately, the athletic department is marketed rather than, and obviously it depends on the level of school you're at, right? Student athletes who play football and basketball, high Division I level programs are getting marketed personally, but for a lower mid-level Division I program for this women's sport that's not super popular, your team and your athletic department is marketed a lot more. Whereas you get into the NBA and we try to market the players themselves and their personality as much as possible, right? So there's a big difference there. But I think, I've taken a lot of skills from being a student athlete to getting where I am now. I'm very organized and regimented just because I've had to be for so long. Like, to be a Division I athlete, you have to be organized and be able to time manage really well. While also like you represent your athletic department when you're an athlete. So making sure that you're doing all the right things and in the public eye, you're making the right decisions. And I think that goes along too with my job now, is I do represent the brand of the Pistons just in a different way. Like, I'm not a player playing for the Pistons, but I am working behind the scenes to create the brand that is the Detroit Pistons and to help them further themselves in whatever way, even though their record may not be great, right? But what else can we do? What are the employees doing behind the scenes that are creating this overall brand that's great?
And see, excuse me, I was one that's, you can see the name. I had contact with you a little bit back and forth as one that approached you as about coming on here. And one thing I said on there was, I never really thought into depth as I'm sorry, I can't speak right now. As far as how the organizations work and everything, me being from the South here in the Appalachian region of Kentucky, all I thought was players, coaches, medical, And when I seen what you were posting, I was like, wow, that's like a whole different brand of stories that could be really developed and kind of talk about, like, because not until recently with the Mickey Mouse ring that I even noticed that there was the massage that they would go to. Like, I think it was McGee did a whole like a YouTube channel where he was like watching what everyone did during the pandemic with that. His food people that he would go to, the massage therapists he'd see, and just like the dietitians and all that whole 9 yards. I'm like, wow, there's so much more to sports that we don't even really get to know about. And that's one reason why I wanted to have you on here, because I'm sure you get to interact with so many different people that you never thought that you probably been able to just because of a basketball team. So I want to ask, and I know we've kind of already asked some of these different things here, but like, what's been that wow moment for you so far being associated with the Pistons?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Of course.
It's hard to choose, but like, I feel like for me, like, I mean, I've been with them full time for about 7 months, so not even like a full year yet, but the first opening night was probably like the big wow moment for me, because obviously we had probably the most fans in the building that we've had, obviously before COVID, but even a couple years before that, we were obviously, the Pistons are in a rebuilding process of the team. So seeing how many people came because they're excited about Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey and like the players that we did get, and packing that arena was something so cool to be a part of. So my job specifically handles all the giveaways that are given out at games. So for opening night, we had Detroit versus Everybody t-shirts for the whole arena, like all the chairs, every single seat in that arena had a shirt on it. And so like getting to see the empty stadium with all those shirts and then seeing it get filled was such a wow moment for me. I guess just seeing how many people, like, I got to like make their day by getting a t-shirt, something so simple and so small, but I still see those t-shirts being worn. And I think just seeing that we do have 22,000 people that want to come and watch a game. And I'm hoping, that trend continues to grow. It continues to grow. I mean, obviously we're not packing the arena every single night, but that first opening night was really special because you got to see, and I finally got to see like all the excitement that fans do have and the support they have for the team.
That's awesome. One thing I want to say, if like, you make a shirt, a shirt that they actually do the whole shirt cannon with, can you like, help people like me out and throw in like a 2 or 3X in those machines sometimes? Because like I never even try because it's always like a large. I mean, that ain't fit me since high school. I mean, just think about the fat guys with me, okay?
That's a very good point, because I think we're always trying to find, honestly, more ways to be inclusive of all our fans, no matter what it is. So thank you for like that feedback. Like no.
I caught it one time. I've caught it at a game. Of course, it was a Kentucky game, and I was like, I know this is not going to fit me, so I just gave it to a little kid. I'm like, come on, man, this is not going to be for me. Yeah. But let's see here. CJ, you got a question? Look like you was about to say something.
Yeah. So you said. So do you focus a little bit on the players too, or more just about the team?
Yeah. So I am more on the business operations side of the Pistons. So we're divided in half. There's business operations and basketball operations. Basketball obviously handles the team, the players, the players' families, the travel, all of that kind of stuff. And then the business operations is, your marketing, your ticket sales, your corporate partnerships, kind of like all the assets that a normal business would have is on that side. So I do sometimes, there's a couple times where I have been involved with the players, not super closely, but we assist where needed just because we are brand and marketing. But I'm definitely more of fan engagement and dealing with our fans and making the fan experience as best as possible, rather than dealing with players directly.
So social media is such a big thing now, especially over the last decade or so. Obviously, I'm pretty sure that's something that you've attacked since it's being there with the Pistons. What are some of the methods that you've learned, not only studying and from Central Michigan, but also applying that to the Pistons in terms of methods, in terms of marketing, and making sure that more people get to see the Pistons on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, so there's actually within my marketing department, we actually have a social media team. I am not directly on it. Obviously, the marketing department all works together towards certain initiatives, but we do have a team of 3 that handles all our social media platforms. But something I've learned, and obviously there's many battles, whether it's legal battles with owning rights to music, or like public relations battles, whereas like we can't always use players for every single thing that we want to do, right? There's a lot of limitations on them, rightfully so. But I think the best thing is really just trying to get people to know the Pistons players and their personalities and like them as people, not just as basketball players who are out there to win. And we're trying our very best to do that, to highlight the players and, make people feel like even though they're behind a screen, that they can kind of get to know the players and, form these relationships, even though it's only on social media. So I know that's something that they're really trying hard to do. But then also like showcasing like what we do as a brand as a whole too. We have a really great community and social responsibility department that does so much great stuff for the Detroit community, the Michigan community in general. And I think social media is really trying to highlight that as well, because the Detroit Pistons as a company do a lot of other things besides just put on those basketball games.
Dope. So this is a 2-part question for me. Number 1, how did you hear about the opportunity and what was the process like of getting the job? And number 2, what is like a regular day for you at the job?
So honestly, it was probably about February of my senior year. So about like 2 or 3 months until I graduated, and I started doing the job searching process like every senior does. And it was stressful. I use Teamwork Online to look at jobs. That's probably the best website for professional sports, at least for job postings. So Teamwork Online, LinkedIn a little bit, kind of just like talking to a lot of my connections. I was reaching out to people that I knew from the Pistons from my prior internship. I was also reaching out to other people that I knew in other sports elements and worlds, just trying to let people know that I was looking for a job. And I actually almost took a different job. I was going to be like a marketing coordinator for a gymnastics brand, like a gymnastics equipment brand. Like I really considered that because that was the only thing I got. And I was like, okay, like I want to have a job when I graduate. Like I should just do this. But I like listened to my gut and I was like, no, like, let's just turn it down. Like if you don't get something, it'll be okay. Like you can go move home with your parents until you find something. I was just kind of told myself to have a little bit more patience with it. And then I was lucky enough that on LinkedIn, I saw my former boss had posted the job opening that I have now. So I love LinkedIn. I use it all the time to just, connect with people, see job openings, that kind of stuff. So I was really lucky to see that. So I saw that, applied. I didn't hear anything right away, but then I got an email about the interview process. So I went through and I did about 5 different interviews, working my way up. I first started like with my boss, and then each interview got higher in the organization. So I talked to my boss, the vice president of brand marketing, our chief marketing officer, and then our chief business officer at the time. So I worked literally all the way up that tree, essentially, with interviews. So, and it was nerve-wracking. Interviews are always hard, no matter how much you practice, but just like showing your personality, but also showing your passion. Like I think because I was an intern formerly, I knew what to expect, and I knew things that I had learned in my senior year of college from that internship that I could connect back to advancing my role. So that's a little bit about the process. So definitely, like those watching, if you're interested, please look at Teamwork Online. Like that's where the Pistons post our job openings, as well as pretty much, I would say almost every professional sports team that's hiring would post from there. That's our go-to website. But then my day-to-day really depends. It changes all the time. And I'm sure you guys get that answer, anybody you ask in sports. But I have a lot of typical like 9 to 5 days where I'm just in the office working on different things. Daily, I'm communicating with our third party system that helps me connect basically helps me generate our giveaways. So our giveaways are outsourced, obviously, to different manufacturers that can create them. And there's like a middleman party that helps me do so. So I'm always talking to them, always just organizing what we're going to do for a certain theme night or game or initiative. So we'll have Women's Empowerment Month in March. So I'm working on that currently of what we're going to do as a brand for Women's Empowerment Month and how we're going to showcase that as the Detroit Pistons. And then as a game day, I'm usually there probably 3 to 4 hours before the game actually starts. And my team does what we call power hours. So it's the first hour before the Pistons game. That's when doors open. So we have a DJ, we have a photo booth. Today was actually Kids Day. So we had face painters and balloon artists basically a lot of, sometimes it's just a DJ and a photo booth just to get people excited, a little bit hyped up, set the vibe. But then we'll have theme nights that will add a bunch more things too as well. So that Kids Day was today. It was great. But the goal of power hours is to get people there early, get them to walk around the arena, go to the store, get like excited for the game, versus just like walking in and going to their seat and sitting down. But that's a lot of like what my team does. But day to day is just kind of gearing up for whatever event, whatever initiative we have going on. We don't really have any events coming up per se, but this past summer we had an influencer event for our teal release. So obviously we kept it a secret as much as we could. And then we planned a party and had influencers and high ticket members come. And we like surprised everybody and announced it. So that's something that my team does work on, are some of these like external events like that.
If you ever need to, like, invite us, we'll keep it a secret so we can be there and, have everybody go. So, I mean, we're open to that. So, first class, though, for the tickets.
Don't mind our co-hosts.
That's funny.
But, okay, as you were speaking about all these different events that you guys are planning, all I can sit here and think is, like, you all are in some kind of room where there's a whiteboard, and it's like, okay, everybody, give me an idea, and you write it down. Okay, let's brainstorm and go with this. I don't know if that's how it is. But I need to know, what is the most like worst idea that was given that you all like, yeah, we can't do this?
Oh, actually, this is funny because I remember this. And I wouldn't say it was the worst idea, but it was just like bizarre. We were trying to find, I feel like it was trying to find different ways to like announce teal like to the community. And our like influencer guy was like, I know a horse guy. Like, we can bring in some real horses. And we're like, no, like, we're not going to do that. We're not going to bring that like to the building. And we're like, no, I mean, it was, I wouldn't say it's the worst idea. It was funny at the time because we're like, first of all, how do you know someone who has horses that we can like rent? Like, that's bizarre.
Believe it or not, my brother's wife's brother-in-law married her sister. They actually breed horses up in Michigan.
Really?
So
well,
even I know somebody in Michigan that has horses.
Know.
So let me know next time you want to drop some teal. I got you.
But wait, hang on real quick. What did you say? Your brother's wife's brother-in-law?
Okay,
is that what you said?
My brother's sister-in-law's husband's family actually breeds horses up in Michigan. Like, he actually got to drive when they went to visit him one time in Michigan. I want to say around Grand Rapids. I'm not for sure. But they went to deliver a horse out towards Pennsylvania, and someone bought it for like $90,000. So it's like high-end horses, apparently. Like, that's stupid crazy.
That's good to know. But yeah, that was probably like
we're networking here.
That's not a bad idea, but it was just like the most bizarre, funny idea, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I understand it because the teal had the horse on it, right? Like the black horse, the old style there.
Our mascot is a horse, Hooper.
Right. So I mean,
it connects.
It makes
but I don't know if enough people would like. Sometimes I feel like people don't always connect that on the teal uniforms is a horse and our mascot is a horse. But yeah.
Gotcha. So is there any? Go ahead. You good, CJ? Go ahead.
Okay, cool. Who are some of your mentors in this marketing field, and what advice have they given you in this next step in your career?
Yeah, so truthfully, I did not have many marketing mentors when I was in college. I did an internship going into my sophomore year. I was at the University of Michigan in the ticket office, and I was just a customer service representative, just literally trying to get my foot in to the sports world and get any experience I could. And I quickly learned from that, like some of the things I do and don't want in a job. You know, and I kind of kept some of those connections there. They weren't necessarily in the marketing world, but they were able to at least talk me through some stuff, give me some advice. And truthfully, I feel like my marketing mentorship were some of my professors at Central Michigan, kind of just like giving me the confidence to like, I guess, apply for jobs and feel confident that like, even though I don't have all this crazy experience per se, like there's a lot of stuff that we learned in class that can be applied to jobs. But then I would truthfully say like my boss I have now is my biggest marketing mentor, because she was my boss throughout my internship, and then my internship ended and her and I kept a close relationship after that. And literally probably a week before I heard anything back from the Pistons about this position, I jumped on a call with her and I was like, can I please just talk to you? I'm stressed about this job search experience. Like, and in no way was I going to be like, hey, like I applied for the job. Like, where are we at with this? I wasn't doing that. I simply was like, as a mentor and as someone who's had a lot of experience, like I would love to just talk to you and hopefully you can calm my nerves about everything. Right. And she was like, yeah, just, you know, do this, this, and this. Like I recommend this kind of resume, blah, 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 like giving me all the tips that I needed. And then a week later, you know, I ended up getting a call back for an interview. And I'm not saying that that phone call did it. It definitely didn't, because obviously they were planning stuff more than a week in advance. But even though she's my boss now, I still will probably always consider her a big mentor of mine, just because I feel like we're very similar goals. And she's just great, like simply just great and very transparent with like job processes.
So what's next for Grace?
You know, it's funny. Everybody asks me that, and I truthfully do not know. Like I said, I've only been here for 7 months. I'm loving every minute of it. It's obviously a lot of long hours, a lot of weird hours, but it's really rewarding. And I think the Pistons culture is great, like the work culture. Like I don't ever dread going to work. Yes, some days would I like to sleep in more? Yes, but actually going to work and like interacting with my coworkers is something that I look forward to every single day. So because of that, like I want to stay there as long as I can. Obviously I would love to move up in the hierarchy, you know, and take on more responsibility when I'm given the opportunity to. But yeah, I don't really have a plan right now, because truthfully, this was my dream job coming out of college. And I'm very, very fortunate enough to be able to go right into it. But I knew I wanted to work in the brand and event marketing field of some sort. Now, do I always want to stay a coordinator for the rest of my life? No, I would love to move up. But obviously when the time's right and when I am professionally ready to, I'm hoping that will come. But yeah, I would say just, you know, what's next is just to keep learning and keep growing, and just branching out my skills in any way that I can.
Awesome.
So this is a question from I guess you could say from a fan's perspective. So what has been your opinion or analysis on the Pistons as a team this season?
Yeah. So it's an interesting question, because I'm being truthfully transparent. I was not a Pistons fan growing up, even though I lived in Ann Arbor. Like I really didn't follow, like none of my dad, I've grown up a diehard sports fan. Like I'm from Ann Arbor. My parents both went to Michigan. Like I've grown up cheering for Michigan my whole life. I still do. So I was always a college sports fan. I never really followed even like the Lions or any professional sports teams. This wasn't big for me.
Who does?
Well, who knows? I'm sure you guys do. The Knicks. I see the Knicks.
Yes,
well,
sir, yes.
Not the Lions. I said who does the Lions?
Yeah, that too. But so
Great.
I really didn't have much of an opinion on the Pistons, even when I got the internship. Like I knew they're a professional NBA team. I knew they weren't very good because I hadn't heard much about it. Obviously, they had their run back in the day. They've had prior success, sure. So I didn't really know much about it. And, you know, I was an intern in the summer, so I didn't even really like see the Pistons season. I didn't work the season. This is my first season actually working. And while I'm not the most knowledgeable in basketball, I know all the basics, but I couldn't tell you like oh, if they win or lose, this is what's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. But they are very, very young, and I feel like they're a very excited team. Like, I genuinely feel that from the players, and I feel like they do work super hard. I'm sure every team can say that, but I genuinely think that they want to win. I just don't think it's clicked. Like, I think it's clicked some games, and we see it, like, when they do pull out those great wins against teams. And then I think, obviously, they fall back, like tonight. But, I mean, I feel like I can't give a good – and for me, it's been an exciting season. But
Right.
I'm a first-time fan, right? Like, I'm just seeing it grow and rebuild. Sorry, my alarm's going off.
That's okay.
But, yeah, I think it's been an exciting season for me. I hope it's been an exciting season for fans. Obviously, it's unfortunate that Cade Cunningham is out for the season, because I know a lot of people were really excited to see him, you know, kind of have some more maturity under his belt, like being 1 year in. But I hope people can get excited about Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren coming in and being new, and, you know, taking control of the ball on the court as they have been this past month or two, especially with Cade out. I feel like they've definitely brought a lot to the team. But at the end of the day, like, winning is important. So I think just more time. Like, I have to stop and think a lot of the time that a lot of those guys out there are my age or younger. Like, I'm 22. I couldn't imagine playing in front of all those people, you know, and trying to have success for this whole organization. So I just try to, like, remember that at times, that a lot of these guys are so young and they just need some time to, like, get it, like, figure it out together. But I don't know if that's the answer you wanted, but that's my philosophical.
Oh, no, that's fine.
That's good. I mean, honestly, I think back before, preseason, when we actually started doing our shows where we were kind of breaking down each little division in the NBA, we probably spent 30, 40 minutes talking about the Pistons as far as their future, like 3 to 4 years, what they've got going on. Yeah. They actually at least have an identity of where they're trying to go forward. And hopefully, like you said, Cade can step up and be that man. And so, I mean, thinking of it from that perspective, where we're like, wow, this is a team that is going to be fun to watch. Like, there's an exciting future for them. I can only imagine now talking with you, like, even from your side of it, hey, listen, like, we're trying to build a brand here through these giveaways and different things like that. Like, as you're building that brand too, the team's getting better too. And like, that would be exciting. Like, hey, we did it. Like, the team finally came with us, and this is where we are, and look how much love we have and support with everything. Like, that would be just nice to see those two coincide with each other. So
for sure. Yeah, and I agree. I think it's something really cool too. Like, there is so much more to the brand besides the team's wins and losses. Like, whether it is the players' personalities, like, what are the players doing? Like, Cade donated a lot of money to a bunch of different Detroit public schools over the holidays, just because he wanted them to be able to, like, have coats and gloves and, you know, all the things needed to get them to school. Like, there's so many stories within the team versus just their wins and losses. And there's also so many stories within the organization as a whole that creates this cool brand to be a part of. And I think the more people can recognize that as sports fans as well, I think the more we'll continue to grow.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then for me,
CJ.
Yeah. What
I can tell. It's like, oh.
So for the seniors right now that's about to graduate college, you know, what advice would you give them that's in your field, and as they try to take that next step and what you did?
Yeah. You know, I do a lot of networking calls. Like, current college students reach out to me all the time. And I think, like, the biggest thing is just to, like, work hard. Like, and I like to say this too, like, I am not the norm per se. Like, not every post-grad college kid gets to go right into what they want to do. And I'm very, very lucky and fortunate for that. But I also did work really hard to get where I'm at. So it's a little bit of both. Like, I don't want anybody to, like, people are like, oh, well, you just graduated and you have this job. Like, you're just so amazing. And I'm like, yeah, like, I worked hard and I got it. But it was lucky with timing too. Like, and I'm very fortunate that I had people that, you know, liked me as an intern and wanted me to come back, you know, but it definitely takes hard work. But so I would say, like, hard work and just keep connecting with people, like, on LinkedIn, on, like, even, like, stuff like this, like, just reaching out to sports fans. Like, you never know who's going to know who. at the end of the day.
You never know who's going to have horses that can bring to
No,
Detroit.
exactly.
I mean, come on.
Exactly. So like, and I think that's something crazy too. Like when I was in college, I kept going to these career fairs and I kept meeting the same person from the Pistons time and time again. And he was in like group sales. So it wasn't necessarily, I was always like, hey, I'm interested in marketing. Like, could you, pass my name along? And now I don't know if he ever did. I can assume maybe he did because of what I have now, but I don't really actually think he did. But, just putting yourself out there and talking to as many people as you can, like really, really benefits you. Even if it's people that work for an like not even a sports organization, like you truly don't know who's going to know who and who can connect you with. And like, even down the line, you could be getting a job and that could be someone's sister and be like, oh yeah, like I met her before. She's great. Like she's really, really nice. Like, or like has a strong work ethic. Like it could be such random connections like that could like propel you forward. So I think always network and present yourself in a professional way. Obviously still have your personality present as well. Nobody wants a robot. But yeah, work hard and network, and be patient. Like not everything is going to come right away, and that's okay. You don't have to, and don't ever feel like you're behind. Like just find different ways to propel yourself forward. Like it may not be that job that you wanted, but what other job could you get, or what class could you take, or what club could you be a part of that could like help you take those steps to get to that job? Like there's always ways, I feel like, to work towards like the next version of yourself.
So you're saying at 36, I still have a chance then, right?
Hey, if you just find yourself to be a well-rounded person with different experiences,
well-rounded.
Yeah. I have no hiring. I have no hiring power whatsoever, but I would like to imagine it's possible.
There we go. Sounds good. Well,
that's some great advice. That's some great advice. Because,
absolutely.
Definitely. You talk about networking, and I think a lot of people they miss that part. I think people just think, I have the degree and I apply for the job and that's it. Sometimes when they're in college, but it's if you use college as a tool to catapult what's next for your life, connections, the people you talk to, like you said, you never know who you come across and who you might see down the road, and those connections could definitely tie into what your career might have going forward. So I think that's some great advice.
Yeah, 100%. And it's nerve-wracking to network, and like believe me, I would like dread it. I'd be like, I don't want to go to this career fair. Like, I don't feel like talking to people today, but I would force myself to go, and you never know. And I think, like, yeah, I went and I heard something back from a job, and like, it's little things like that. And as nerve-wracking as it is, pretty much everybody there is nervous too. So like, you have to think.
Well, I know we said 15 to 20 minutes, and we're already up to 33 minutes here. Grace, thank you so much for coming on here. I'm sure you're busy. Yes. If you ever want to jump back on and just talk about what's going on, feel free. You're invited to Count the Bucket always. I've really enjoyed having you on here. Nick, CJ, anything else you want to ask before we let her go?
I think we're good.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming on. We really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. We're trying to, get people from the NBA, from that realm, from that field, just to learn about their experiences. We always, like you said, we always look at just the player, the coaches, what we see on ESPN, but it's people behind the scenes that really do the dirty work and work hard. So we appreciate you for having me on, Grace.
Yeah, well, thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. Obviously, as someone who's a part of the team, but in a different light, and also as a woman, like I really, really appreciate your guys' time and your guys' want to have me on. I've never done something like this, so it's really great.
Well, you did great. But
Thanks.
Speaking of which, you did say the woman. Has that been a struggle? Because that's one thing I want to give you opportunity is just the girl power part of it too, because we hear about the industry and how hard it is, and I'll let you on that, and we'll do the best. So stick around for that part. Yes.
Yeah. So. Excuse me, I wouldn't say at the Pistons ever been a struggle, to be honest. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of women in high vice president roles. Actually, my chief marketing officer is a woman. She's been at the Pistons for over 20 years. So it is really normal, at least on the business operations side, to have a lot of female power, which is great. And I think like the biggest challenge is just like working with male counterparts that aren't used to that. truthfully. Some of them have probably been in the industry for another 20 plus years and have never seen women in anything but like an administrator or an assistant role that's like helping someone do their job, right? So I think just like learning how to navigate those conversations and, tell people like, I have my job for a reason. You can trust me to do my job. Like, I don't need you to do my job. I can do my job just as well. Like, I'm meant to do this. So just having those conversations, but I definitely think I haven't really experienced too much of it, like in my organization as a whole, because I think that's our goal. We're trying to be a super diverse organization, which we really are. There's obviously more ways to be more inclusive and more diverse constantly, but we really do have a lot of women in the workplace, and especially women in really important roles. So that always gives me the confidence when I'm working, no matter what. Like,
awesome.
If they can do it, I can do it. And, we have I have a lot of great male coworkers who are equally supportive. I think that's the biggest thing that you can do as a male in the industry is support women in whatever realm it is, and not overstep women in any way to support them, but like just show people that you guys are equals and that like we can get it done just as well.
Absolutely. That's where I live, of course. Southeast part of Kentucky, it can be a little bit of a problem sometimes.
Sure.
And it's actually quite comical sometimes on how it can be, because I used to work at Tractor Supply, and we're throwing a lot of horse feed, dog food, and all this stuff around. And us coworkers, we kind of crack up sometimes, because even the women would come up and be like, "Hey, I need some help," and I'd be on the register or something. I say, "Yeah, this lady can go and help you." She's like, "No, that's a man's job." And then we always would try to help each other out, be like, "No, she's just as strong as I am," And we'd prove that, we'd always try to help each other out on that. Oh man, she knows more about tractors than what I know.
Yeah. Being an advocate is like the biggest thing. Like, and I think that's something that's lost on a lot of males, and it's fine, rightfully so. But if you can advocate for women in their jobs and like just be their biggest supporter, like I think that goes a long way, because males will listen to males. That's all I could say, I guess.
Understand that. I do. I totally do. But again, thank you so much, Grace, for coming on here. Real quick, do you want to give any kind of shout outs, like where people can follow you or anything to that?
Yeah. So if you find me on LinkedIn, like please send me like a message saying like, "Oh, I saw you on this and this." Like I tend to not connect with people if I don't necessarily know you, or like I have to read your bio and kind of know a little bit about you, just so if anybody ever reaches out to me, I can point them to my connections and know that I'm going to know that person versus being like, "Oh, that kind of thing." So totally fine. If you want to connect with me, it's just my first and last name, Grace Gagliardi. And just send me a little message that you saw me on here. But that's probably the best way to reach me. So yeah.
All right. Well, again, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Of course, thank you guys so much for having me.
All right. Enjoy your week. Have a good week.
Thanks, you too.
Bye. Have a good day. Thanks.
Wow, great interview.
Interview. That was awesome.
Fantastic.
Shout out to Michael for setting that up. Michael's definitely our guy to get the guest on the show. So appreciate you, OG. Yes, sir. Appreciate you, OG, for setting that up for the gang.
They make fun of me, guys, because of course, we share the TikTok, the Twitter, the Instagram, so we all can see what's going on with the account. But yeah, like they'll be like, "Wow, Michael's been at it. Like, look at all these DMs that he's been sending out." I mean, it's a part of the grind. You heard Grace say you've got to network a little bit, okay? So at least I'm there, right?
No, it's facts. I mean, we're kind of doing the same thing. We're kind of in the genesis stages of doing the networking and yeah, bro. Appreciate you for setting that up, man. That was a great interview with Grace.
And again, thank you, Grace, if you're still watching on this. Like, I never in a million years would imagine about or even think to look into the industry on the other side of the court, on the other side of the baseline, if you will, of what all goes into it, because they are 100% a part of that team as well. And just the work that goes into it, the business side, the marketing side, like that sounds like fun to come up with all those ideas that they want to talk about. I believe a lot of people would actually consider that as a career if they even thought about it. I never would have. Have you all ever thought anything like that to work? Well, you live in New York, real close to the Knicks, right? But have you ever thought, "Hey, I could go and do something there"?
All the time.
All the time. Well, I wrote it down. Check out Teamwork Online, and we'll see what we can get for you.
I wrote that down too. I'm trying to lock in. And again, sometimes even when I'm watching League Pass, they'll show the music and the DJ. They have the camera,
the credits and stuff,
the kiss cams and things like that. That's an integral part of the experience of going to an NBA game. So, that was phenomenal interview to kind of dive into that world.
I am loving, of course, it's usually on Instagram. I see it, the big screen where they're doing like the celebrity lookalikes. Like those are hilarious that they're doing now.
Yes, absolutely.
So let's go on the inbound part of the NBA now, as we'll transition to what we're doing here. We're at 40 minutes, so we've got quite a bit of topics, but we'll probably just try to go through them as fast as we can. Guys, if you've been keeping up with the NBA, like you should be if you're watching this show, the Nets have been playing pretty good ball here lately, have they not?
They just beat Miami today.
I mean, we didn't have to say who they beat, okay? We could have left that part out.
I'm just speaking obvious.
Are they on the rise? I'm like, are they officially the top in the East now? Is that too much to ask or say so far?
Well, first off, prayers up to KD. He went down in this game. Jimmy Butler had, accidentally fell on his leg. I started to grab his knee, out for the remainder of that game. Like Nick just said, they were able to get that W. It was a close game throughout. It really went down right to the wire. I thought Jimmy got fouled at the end of that, at the end of regulation, but I think, not leaving it up to the refs is the best thing, because you don't want to leave it up to the zebras to decide a game. So it was a close one, a nail biter. I mean, maybe
we'll get into that later as well.
Yes, and maybe Miami they could get one back if they meet up down the road.
So in December, I think they only lost one game.
Yeah, 13-1.
13-1. They were at an 11-game win streak coming into the new year. They just won tonight. So really,
18 of the last 20.
Yeah, they lost. They lost to Chicago. Yeah, Chicago this past week. That's the only loss so far. Enough.
Who do y'all, real quick? How do we think of the East is lining up right now? Who do you think the best team is?
I'm still going to go with the Celtics as the team. I feel like they've been one of the more consistent ball clubs so far this season. But then again, also, Brooklyn and Milwaukee are probably right there behind them. And you definitely can't deny what Brooklyn has been doing. They're locked in, and we're just going to keep repeating ourselves. We've been alluding to this for a long time. Steve Nash had to go. It's clear as day. Steve Nash had to go.
He was he was Udonis Haslem. He was a player coach. That's what he was.
Exactly.
He wasn't really a coach. He was just an old player.
Haslem is a player.
That man does not see the floor. You remember the last time he saw the floor? Nobody does. No disrespect to UD.
Is he getting paid millions to be on the roster? Yes.
He robbing him. Pat Riley just throwing money. Hey, get your money. Get your money, man. I'm never a hater when it comes to the dollar. Never a hater. But
with Haslem,
with Haslem. I just think it's time to retire, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you made an announcement. Like, okay, so like the funny thing is, I mean, I know we're getting off topic, but the funny thing was, UD had made a statement like, "Oh, I'm going to announce my decision," and they're all thinking, "Oh, Steve, he's going to retire." And the next thing you know, he's going to be like, "Oh, I re-signed with the team for what? For what?
For money."
Trying to get another chip. Even if it's just a mentor or a therapist, whatever.
He is a high-paid coach. You're right.
Player coach. That's exactly
get your
what
money. Get your money. Get your money.
Yeah. Back to Brooklyn real fast. Yeah. I'm happy for the Brooklyn Nets. I really am. There's just this resurgence that they've had. Obviously, KD being hurt, I was going to say they're healthy, but now with KD out, that's a little minor setback. We'll see what the extent of that injury is going forward. But prior to tonight, they've been relatively healthy. Those guys, him and Kyrie, have been playing phenomenal. I mean, their shooting splits, the efficiency that they play at is really something to marvel at. Knowing the type of volume that those guys, the type of shots those guys put up, the tough makes. The tough takes and the tough makes that those guys do, and for them to do that at an efficient level, is definitely great to watch. Then you look at some of the role players that they have, Watanabe, Royce
Claxton.
O'Neal. Claxton is going to get a bag. No doubt about it. He's going to get a big bag this offseason, the way he's been able to not only rebound and rim run, but also rim protect. Yeah, that's been a big thing. Him and Simmons have done a great job. They have great rapport. Simmons posting up. He knows where to go on what side of the block. If they try to double team, Simmons has high IQ when it comes to passing. So those guys have great rapport on that front court. So yeah, they play great. Seth Curry, knockdown shooter, could also put the ball on the floor, hit mid-range shots. He's a 3-level scorer as well. Joe Harris, it's going to take some time. He missed a lot of time last year, so he has to get his legs together. But he's been playing solid. I expect him, in this second half of the season, after All-Star break, I expect him to pick it up and get back to where he was, and he was, one of the best 3-point shooters in the NBA when he's out there. So he's a threat. They've impressed me, man. They've impressed me. I'm glad that they just put their head down and played basketball. No distractions outside, the little, just whatever happened in the beginning of the season. But, they really turned it around. Jacques Vaughn, they're playing for him. I'm glad he's getting this opportunity. He's had some ups and downs throughout his coaching career, and now he's been able to stay patient. That's something that Grace just talked about. Be patient. You never know what's going to happen, and he's seizing this opportunity. Better than most, and I'm excited for him. I'm excited for this team too, and it just makes the Eastern Conference just more formidable. Really, to me, that I don't see a clear cut favorite. That's what you asked at the beginning of the topic. If KD's healthy, I would lean towards Brooklyn, just because, again, come playoff time, they have two guys that know when to step up at the right time in the postseason. Now I know last year they got swept, but this team is a little different. I also forgot to mention TJ Warren too, another guy that they brought in, a bucket. He's always been a bucket. He was a bucket in Phoenix, as you know, Michael. He was a bucket with the Pacers, and he's just
Michael don't know.
Michael don't know. You wasn't watching Phoenix back then, bro.
Was Devin Booker on the team? Then yes.
Of course. You didn't catch Booker to the bubble, man. Come on.
Booker was in Kentucky. Yes, I knew it. You're just jealous.
Oh man.
But let's go ahead and trade up a little bit, because yes, I'm with you as far as Brooklyn being the number one team right now. I'm just going to go with what they've done in the past. So I'm going to put them with a lead a little bit. Yes, KD's hurt. I'm not going to punish them until they actually show that they're playing bad without KD. So with that being said, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to make a statement. I'm going to say something here, but then I'm also going to follow up with the question. I want y'all to answer this here, okay? So last week, I think we may have talked about it a little bit. I can't remember when it actually happened, but last week we had my guy, Donovan Mitchell, go for 71 points. Amazing play, even with the shot from the free throw line, get the rebound, shoot it while in the air, and make it to go into overtime. Carry on 71 points. Amazing play by him. There's only been a few people that's actually scored 70 points or more. I think it might be 3. Him, of course, Wilt.
Wilt, I think Elgin Baylor, Booker, Kobe. It might be it.
So with that being said, amazing.
And my 2K player.
You got to throw that one in.
Yeah.
So with that being said, Donovan Mitchell, 71 points, puts his team in overtime of like 140 points total scored, which is great play. What I'm getting at, MVP type player for this year, absolutely. I've called it back in the summer. But here's my question. One, I want to hear what you guys think of.
Wait, hang on. Slow down. You said Booker's your MVP?
Booker?
Oh, sorry, not Booker. My bad. Mitchell's your MVP?
I said MVP playing. I called that he would be MVP caliber. Is the scoring so high by individual player just the new norm now?
That's actually interesting, because I was actually having a conversation about this with somebody about a few weeks ago. So it's like we've seen like the drastic of like 50-point games. Giannis had a 50-point game. Devin Booker had a few 50-point games.
That person you left off your all-star starting lineup had like 3 in 1 week. 50
yes, Luka Doncic had a lot of 50-point games.
Just making sure you knew who he was. Okay.
So it's crazy because I was talking about it though, and it was like are these 50-point games like as exciting as it was even like maybe in the past? Because back then 50-point games were kind of rare unless it was a guy like T-Mac or Kobe or LeBron. Like now it's like everybody's getting a 50-point game. It's like multiple players. So I mean, I guess you could say that's the evolution of the league and like where it's going. But you know, I was having a conversation about that. But honestly, as far as Donovan Mitchell's 71-point game, I mean, you know, that's like at the top of the realm for me. Like, you know, like that's something that is likely like not to be duplicated for another probably 5-6 years from now. Like, you know, we're probably not gonna see anybody else get another 70-point game for a little while. But
I would say it happens again this year.
I don't know about this year. Minimum, I'll say minimum 2 years. 2 years from now.
You know how dirt the defense has been in the A. I could see it happening a little bit sooner than that. But I mean, it's been a while. I mean, Booker scored 7. When was that? What, 9 years ago?
It was 17, so it's almost 6 years ago.
Oh, 6 years ago. 6 years ago. 2017, right? So yeah. This surge has been you know, it's exciting if you love offense, but you know, me being a guy in terms of, you know, loving the all around game, defense in the NBA right now is horrendous. My goodness, the pain is so sweet. That pain is so sweet right now in the A, and
let me ask you something though. Like, do you blame that on the players or coaches, or do you blame it on like the officials for why the defense is? Okay.
I mean, yeah, a little bit on the officials too, because but you can't blame the officials without blaming the league, because the league tells how to officiate the game. So you know they're going to you know, they're going to be more lenient. It's just like in the NFL. It's just like it's a passing error. You know you hit a receiver, automatic flag. You know, pass interference. It's just that you can't hit guys. You just can't do it. And now in the NBA, it's the same thing. You can't stay in front of anybody. I think without fouling, you can't get physical. I think they need to add some more physicality to the game. I know it's physical. I mean, guys are physical. You know, guys are strong. You know, they're bodying up, but it needs to be just a touch more, man. I mean, this is getting a little out of hand here.
I'm going to say this and kind of interrupt you there. If a team is shooting 20 to 25 free throws in a game, and yet still shooting 45 3-pointers, something in between there has to be less. And what I mean by that, the ref is either calling a lot of touch fouls, because if you're shooting threes, you're not really penetrating and trying to drive on an offense. You know, I'm going to say settling for threes, but it's the new era to shoot the threes. Trust me, I know. I'm not bad-mouthing it. I'm just saying, in an old head, as they say, watching the NBA now, you have the ball movement, which is great, and then everyone shooting a three of some sort. I don't know how we're having teams shooting 25, 30 free throws in a game when we're 3-point dominant of staying out of the paint a lot. Now, you know, of course, we do have these 1 or 2 players that are on each team that are just straight driver creators and doing that. But still at the same time, like, I feel like there's a lot of fouls that are being called because they want to call. Like, I almost want to think the referees are tired from running up that. I need a second. Let me catch my breath. Foul, you know.
And there's a lot of bait fouls too. I mean, you got guys like Harden did it in the past. Trae Young does it now. So like, there's a lot of bait fouls going on. So that's how you know there's a lot of free throws being taken.
And to me, like, those bait fouls to me shouldn't be free throws at all. Which of course they've
they were supposed to change that rule last year though.
They did.
Yeah, they did. But still, like, there's still, how many times have you seen them come around a screen and then stop to shoot a shot because they know the guy's trailing them and going to bump into them? Like, to me, accidental contact on some of them can't be called. Like, we've got to let some of these touchy stuff go, I feel. Personally, I'm going to say this. I think the scores should be barely breaking 100. I want to see physical defense.
For the team?
I think
Michael.
Hey,
what is this, the 80?
It's my opinion. I liked it better when it was 100 points, like 105, maybe 110, but 145, like 135.
Man, Michael, the Brooklyn Nets got 91 points on my Warriors in the first half.
The defense.
But
they weren't playing any defense.
Nah.
And that's to me, this is where the NBA gets a bad rap for some fans. Is that's rec ball, you know. You hear that, like, everyone's just shooting. As soon as you get the rebound, you cross half court, you at the 3-point line, you shoot. Like, everyone is just scoring at will. Everyone's shooting the threes. to me, it is better when you see someone say, hey, I'm going to lock up. This guy's not scoring. Like, how many times do we hear the stories of Kobe said, no, we're switching. I've got him. Or Michael, who's won so many Defensive Player of the Years because he actually wanted to stop people and play. Like, that was the mindset. Now it's like,
I mean, you still have a few of those guys. Like, you got Kawhi Leonard, who's a great defensive player. Even guys like Jason Tatum, who's emerged as a really good defender. So, I mean, you still have those guys.
You have just a few.
Yeah,
like
just a
you
few.
even said it in your work in combating it. It's a few. Like, every team should have that Gary Payton lockdown player, the glove. Like, I just and I'm going to go back kind of using this to talk with what Nick said, like when we're talking about the norm here and the difference about your conversation. I kind of want to address that too. I was talking to somebody, and we've said this numerous times, but like Michael Jordan's 60 points in a game, it's so much more impressive to me than seeing a Mitchell 71.
I get that
because there's 145 total points in that game.
And then also, I mean, you got to think like
he didn't score half.
Like the spacing in the 90s and 80s is totally different from what it is today too. So that's what made it more impressive.
But like, I think Jordan scored 69 points in that game, or maybe 61. I can't remember what it was.
69 against Cleveland in 91, I think, or 90 or 91.
And I think the total was like 115 points. So like he's over the halfway points by himself. And I just feel like sometimes we forget to add that percentage to see how great it is. Like, I mean, if Luka puts in 40 points or 50 points in a night, but yet the team scored 130 points, that really, to me, like you see 50 and you think that's impressive. But when you really think, well, how much of a percentage of that point it is, it kind of dilutes it a little bit, I think. And I think we forget to address that part of it.
But I mean, you also got to think though, like threes count more than two. So it's like, and you talking about like people taking like 30 plus points. But here's the thing,
count more than twos?
I mean, that's what I'm saying though. But it's like, you talk about teams taking like 40 some threes. Like if you make like 25 of those 43s, that's like, I mean,
I'm okay
you're
with
going
that.
to exactly.
I'm fine with that. But the free throws, like we don't need that many free throws if you're shooting those threes. Like, come on. Like to me, you get the free throws going into the defense, going against the heads, the big tall hedges, and trying to create something, getting the foul. But if we're getting like free throws when we're shooting that many 3-pointers, I don't see how that they can actually work together.
But hey, I mean, who's blowing the whistle? You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean when I say the officials have to take accountability as well, because they're the ones blowing the whistles. Like you can't get to the free throw line by yourself when you're a player.
I mean, I agree with you to an extent. I don't want to blame the referees because they're being told this is how you should call this. So they're doing their job, you know.
Yep.
That's where I think the league has went soft.
Yeah, of course. I mean, because scoring is more exciting, highlight plays, and that's what sells. That's what creates income. That's what creates the revenue. No one wants to come see Tony Allen, lock up, the opposing team's best player. No one's going to the game to watch that. They want to see Kobe go for 40. They want to see Steph, hit 10, 11 threes. That's what they want to see. So, and I also think hand checking too also plays a big factor.
Mm-hmm.
Them eliminating that was something that was implemented, about 20, 30 years ago, that now that's not in the game plays a big factor, because those defenders, they were just, pretty much, I mean, really now the way we see it, it's a foul. You're just, holding the guy's hip and guiding him one way. Today we see like, are you kidding me? That's a foul. He's literally grabbing his waist.
I could not play in today's era.
It's, so it's, now, with the way they've changed the rules, we just look at the game differently. So for them, they're not bringing that back. So what's the answer? I just think it has to just be just more effort as a collective from the team defensively. Listen, Luka and Giannis and these guys, they're going to get there. So that's a given. But that doesn't mean you just let them easily just walk into 60, walk into 55, 20, and 17. You're going to just play as a team, five guys out there, collective. Let's stop this guy. Let's get home. Let's rotate. Let's close out on the shooters. You have to lock in. You can't just be complacent. Well, it's Giannis. Yeah, I know he's going to get his 30 and 10. So I think also it's a combination of everybody. Everybody plays a part in this offensive surge that's going on right now. And for Mitchell, that 71 is I didn't think we'd see it in a while. I saw, Luka hit 60, and I was like, okay, that's I think 60 was definitely, I feel like was a mark where I didn't think anybody would surpass that. And now Mitchell is getting into Wilt Kobe territory. Yeah, that's something special. So, congrats to him. That's a phenomenal feat. And again, he's not a tall guy.
He's 6'1". Yeah, so I mean that's really impressive for smaller guys.
Yeah, because you look at all the guys on the list with him, they're at least 6'6" and up. So it's a phenomenal feat for him. Congratulations to him. He's always been a bucket. Yeah, that card is gonna age wonderfully down the road, bro.
I hope so.
That's a fact. But that's, honestly, I mean that is a good debate though. Like like the conversation that I was having with my friend. Like, are 50-point games as special as they once were, because we see it so often now than what we used to?
I still view it as special. I think it's still not an easy thing to do.
Right.
Now the league is favoring you towards accomplishing that feat much easier than what we saw in years past. But it's still not. You still have to have obviously the physical toughness, the mental toughness to be able to be locked in like that. I mean, for him to really be locked in like that and get 71, you really have to be. You have to be on it. You have to be on. You have to be you have to be sharp, knocking down your shots. Now, listen, during that game, they came out and said it was the free throw violation. So he really had 69. It is what it is. It is what it is. Well, it doesn't matter. It's 71 in our books on the box score at the end of the game. But nonetheless, you have to really be, you have to be locked in to get those
for 71. Yeah, you have to be locked in.
Oh yeah, definitely.
52 and for 50 as well.
I'm going to be on the other side.
Did half a century?
I'm going to say that 50 points are great, but I think the value is going down a little bit, and I'm going to tell you why right now. Because I almost feel like the NBA is also going away from super teams. Every team has now like their one superstar, and the rest are just pure shooters. So it's opening up the paint so much more, and we've got just a one-ball dominant player who can do whatever they want and score at will, and if they need help, they're kicking it. Like, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, we just seen it. Giannis, we've got Luka, we've got Donovan, we've got Trey, Booker. I mean, that was just naming a few real quick. KD and Kyrie are both on one teams, but like, I almost feel like the super teams are almost a not needed thing anymore because everyone on the team are now shooters, because that's where we're getting committed to just the three-pointers. And again, I'm not bad-mouthing three-pointers, but everyone on the team now has a chance of shooting a three-pointer, so let everyone get out of the way, camp at the three, because, Nick just informed us that threes are more than twos. Everyone stay at the three-point line.
Make sure everyone knows their math, Michael.
You got to. It's that Common Core stuff. And I feel like that's why the 50 points are going to be more common, because that one player is the one that's dominant. Everyone else has the roles to shoot, catch, and shoot or rebound.
Completely agree. Another two players that have been going off with just one per se, and they've been able to bounce back and really get themselves in contention in this Eastern Conference. Chicago Bulls. Chicago Bulls. A lot of people were talking about trade, blow it up. LaVine is going to Team X, but they've really locked in that locker room. They've come together and have been able to really play some great basketball. They got the dub against the Sixers a couple nights ago. I believe they beat the Clippers a few nights ago. We even said
they beat Brooklyn, right?
Yep, they did. They beat Brooklyn and it snapped their 12-game win streak. Now, for me, when I look at Chicago, I said this at the start of the season. They're regular season heroes because we know what DeRozan and LaVine are. DeRozan per se, we still don't know about LaVine yet. We haven't seen him really in this role for too long to really come up with a real summary on what type of player he is. But this is the time to show us for sure. When everybody's talking about trading you and blowing the team up, if you're able to lock in and try to get some W's, get back in contention, I think is great. Last year, DeRozan was that MVP candidate. We talked about him ad nauseum the entire year last year. And they took a step back in the playoffs. It got knocked out in the first round, but LaVine wasn't 100%. So if they could come together and try to do something, something special is great. It's obviously going to make the Eastern Conference better. They got some teams that going to have to surpass to get there. But they're playing great basketball now, and they're 19-21. We'll see if they can be able to get to 500 and keep it going. What you guys think about Chicago? I see Nick there falling asleep. You all right, bro?
I'm good, man.
Sleeping on the Bulls, man.
Shout out to the Bulls. Shout out to the Bulls. I mean, CJ's right. They definitely have played a lot better than what they did at the start of the season. But I don't want to sound like a hater here, but I'm still not a believer. Not a believer whatsoever. I still think that they need to make a few moves to get themselves together if they really want to be true contenders in the East. One of the main important aspects or pieces to this team, Lonzo Ball, he needs to get healthy. But man, that knee is cooked. I'm not gonna lie to you. Oh man. But they still need to move a few pieces. I think Vucevic needs to get moved. I like him as as a stretch big, but defensively he's not really that great. And there's still questions as far as whether this dynamic duo of Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan can really coexist as a duo. I mean, we know that they've had big scoring games as a collective together, but can that really result into high level basketball as far as winning? So that's still kind of in the question. It's kind of in the air for me. So kudos to the Bulls. They beat Brooklyn. They snapped their winning streak, but still not a believer. Just my personal opinion.
I'm going to piggyback with what you basically just said there, so I'm not going to be too long on it. I feel like the Bulls are a poor man team in a way. I don't know, a poor man Lakers, since the Lakers have been kind of hot here lately. Of course, everyone's been hurt for the Lakers and the Bulls. Everyone in some form of fashion been in and out. They still have their superstars that can play the roles. I just feel like the Bulls are not going to get over that hump. So to me, why waste time being mediocre when you can break it up and do something different? Now, with that being said, the Lakers have been hot here lately, correct?
Yeah, 5 in a row.
5 in a row. I was trying to pull it up.
They're undefeated in 2023.
Let's not say anything like that. Goodness. Undefeated in 2023, the year of the 23 jersey. There you go for LeBron.
Is LeBron year? Is it LeBron year?
I mean, we've already had a sit down conversation that did absolutely nothing for it. I mean, of course, he's now.
I told you it was just a regular interview, bro.
I know. I was so
ready. I saw like
it was on ESPN too. I think.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. So even that's kind of comical that LeBron didn't even make ESPN 1 for his sit down.
I mean, I want to say they had games on at the time.
Well, I was just expecting something more. People were saying, "Oh, could he be requesting a trade? Could he say that he's retiring? Could he be saying that he's going to make a bid for a new team so he can draft his son?" Twitter talk, guys. Okay,
you gotta stay off NBA Twitter, bro.
Hey, I love conspiracy tweets.
It's a nasty world.
Yeah,
it's a nasty world.
But so what's going on with the Lakers? Like, what have they changed that's doing good now?
Everybody's clicking on all cylinders, man. I mean, that's really what it is. Braun is continuing to play at a high level. We know what he's doing.
Crazy.
He's going absolutely crazy at 38 years old. But then also other guys, like one of the guys that's really been impressing me, or two guys, I would say. Definitely him. But there's two other guys. There's the one that's Thomas Bryant, who I want to say had 29 in the last game, and then also Wenyen Gabriel brings a lot of energy once he's in the game. Like that's one of the biggest pieces so far. And then also, I mean,
where did he play at in college?
Oh God,
I'm just asking.
How we get to this, but the one guy, and I tweeted this morning. Like, I'm happy for Russ. You know what I'm saying? Because I know that transitioning to being like one of the main pieces of the second unit, that's not easy for a guy that was a former MVP. It still has a lot left in the tank, but he's made that transition. And even in games that LeBron hasn't played, like, Darvin Ham isn't inserting Russ into the starting lineup. He's keeping him right there on the bench, which is really impressive. So it just shows that Russ is comfortable in his role now. He's playing at a high level. He's having fun with the game, and that's really what we're seeing so far. So the Lakers have definitely improved. Surprisingly, even though Anthony Davis is still out, can they continue to contain this winning streak? We'll see if that's in the air, because I think the next 3 games. I know they play Denver tomorrow. I think they play Philly after that, and they play Dallas. So those are going to be 3 tough matchups. So we'll see if they'll be able to. We'll see if they'll be able to contain that. But overall, you gotta be. I mean, you gotta be credit where it's due. I mean, the Lakers are playing high level basketball. They beat the Kings last night, which is a really good win, and we'll see where they go from there.
Three reasons. One, Darvin Ham rotations have been pretty solid over these last few games. He's playing guys like JTA, Juan Toscano Anderson. You see Christie in there as well, rookie, second-round pick. He's getting some quality minutes, knocking down shots, playing defense, bringing effort. Second, the other guys. That's Dennis Schroeder as well, another player that's been criticized heavily for not taking that contract, the four over 84 a few years ago that the Lakers offered, and now he's on 1-year deals over these last 2 years. But the way he's playing right now, he's really setting himself up to get a long-term contract here in the offseason, next offseason. So I'm happy for him. He's playing great defense. They had a great game last night against the Sacramento Kings. I don't know if you guys happen to see that, but it was a great game. Went down to the wire. Fox went crazy, hit a big mid-range shot to tie it. Then Dennis Schroeder got fouled, knocked down both free throws, and Fox missed kind of like a half-court three to end it. But it was a great game. Went down to the wire. I think if those teams were to link up in a play-in or playoff first-round type scenario, I think that would be a very exciting series. What Mike Brown has done with that squad. But yeah, just those other guys, Thomas Bryant. I mean, this guy. I'm just happy for him. I'm just happy for him. He tore his ACL 2 years ago. Last year, that's, and it's the same thing too with Jamal Murray too. It's going to take some time we can't just expect to see bubble Jamal Murray the year he comes back after tearing his ACL. It's just not realistic. It's not 2K. It's going to take some time for these guys to get their legs together, get their conditioning together. And also just understand some new teammates that the team might have acquired. So it's gonna take some adjustment for a guy like Jamal Murray. But Thomas Bryant, he can do everything on the court. He can space the floor, he can rim run,
play pick and roll.
He can play the pick and roll, and he has high IQ to where he knows how to position himself. He does a great job of sealing off players, so LeBron could just put it right there in his hand, and then he could just go right up with it, take a dunk, easy buckets, high IQ. I can't wait to see him and AD and LeBron in that front court. LeBron talked about that a little bit last night in the post game interview. He talked about what that can look like going forward with the front court of him, AD, and Thomas Bryant. And I think with Thomas Bryant's effort on the offensive rebound and in the rebounding category, his ability to get rebounds, he's the perfect center for them. He's the perfect center for the Lakers because he can space the floor, he can knock down a couple threes. AD could still do his thing in the paint. LeBron could still do his thing in the paint. He's not clogging the paint too much. And if those guys are on the perimeter, he knows, like I just said, he knows how to seal off and put himself in good positions to get easy baskets. So he's going to get a bag big time. I mean, I don't know if Jeannie Buss is gonna open up the checkbook, but she might have to.
You need to.
Yeah, she's gonna need to 1,000% because you have two players right there really playing for a big contract, and I think right now the way they're playing, if they're able to keep this up, especially when AD gets back, you'll be looking at a very dangerous team in the second half of the season. And then last but not least, why the Lakers are playing well, LeBron James. 38.
Don't take it for granted, Michael.
I really just don't have a lot of. It's just no words. We've just never seen this. It's just uncharted territory. We're in uncharted territory right now. I really hope people understand what we're watching. I mean, the 13 game stretch he's been on. He was averaging like 37, 38 in the last 13. Are you kidding me? This is just insane. The shooting splits are crazy in terms of three-pointers, field goal percentage. The free throws, he's never been a great free throw shooter, but it's better than what it used to be in years past. And he's just carrying his team. He's carrying his team on his back. He's a leader on the court and off the court. It's just no words to say in terms of his play right now, and he's playing lights out basketball with all the stories about the trades and who they need to pick up, and should they trade the 2027, 2029 first round pick to get player X, and this and that, all these things around them, and they're just locked in together as a family. People in that locker room, they're going out there playing hard, and LeBron is a big reason for that, obviously, and also I guess four reasons, and then Russ, like Nick just said with Russell Westbrook. Mm-hmm. I tweeted this out last night. I said, his mental toughness just doesn't get talked about enough. I mean, this is a guy where people were saying he could be out the league after this year. He was going to be out the league. Mm. So and now he's of course it's stupidity. It's lazy analysis, and then that get paid six figures to talk about the game of basketball that were saying he's going to be out the league. So that that you should put that in perspective and what they know about the game. So 23, 15, and 5 last night off the bench. It's one of the greatest players of all time. You just got to give him his credit. Is he flawed? Mm-hmm. Yes. Is he flawed as a player? Yeah. Is he a great 3-point shooter? No. Is he a great free throw shooter? No. So what? No player is perfect. No player has a perfect game. Everybody's going to have flaws in their game. And, the way people treated him last year, I just feel like it was wrong. That was his first year where he was really the first time ever being a third option. So it took some time for him to adjust. And I think he's capitalized on that, and he's made the most of it. And he's really silenced all of his doubters. And somehow, some way, if he's able to win a championship in his career in these next 4 years, because that's probably the time frame where he probably still has that athleticism left from 33 to 36, 37. That'll just be the icing on the cake for his career if he's able to get that chip. So I'm happy for him. The Lakers are playing well. See if they could keep it up. If they could keep it up when AD gets back, we're looking at a dangerous team in the Western Conference.
Mm-hmm. I want to say this. Where I did say earlier, we're going away from super teams in a way. The way the role players are even better. It's like the role players have stepped up on, I'm going to say steroids. Obviously, guys, I'm not saying they're really on steroids. But, like, just the role players are so much better on every team now. Do you think that this is the Lakers where AD is out and LeBron's running the first unit as the superstar and Westbrook's running the second unit as the superstar? Do you think that's kind of helping them out as well? Because if you put them both on the same lineup or the same time, which I know they play some together, don't get me wrong, but like it's almost, you're going back to the super team and it's almost too congested in there. Granted, AD has been out. There's been time where LeBron's been out where Westbrook can still be the guy on the team. I almost feel like it's kind of been the perfect way for them. AD took off and was in the MVP candidate talk just because of his greatness of his playing while LeBron was out, which limited their super team. And then AD gets hurt. LeBron has taken over. Westbrook still being a team of one for the second unit, which are great players. I'm not taking anything from them. Do you think that that's kind of been one thing that's helped them too? Is just that some people have been out and where there's more room to play like everyone else is playing, where it's superstar with role players everywhere?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously AD being out, so that means there's more shots available for other guys like Dennis Schroeder, like Thomas Bryant, like Russell Westbrook. So, that plays a factor. But I think that the key thing for me and what I see is they're just capitalizing on that. Mm-hmm. We've seen guys get hurt on other teams and be out, and the role players don't step up and don't take advantage of that opportunity to where they're still able to make an impact despite losing one of their guys. So, yes, you're right. Of course, that plays a factor, and that's going to be interesting to see when AD gets back. How will they be able to adjust, because they won't have the same type of shots that they had before he came back. So that'll be an adjustment period, but I don't think it'll be that big of an adjustment because one, AD's unselfish, so is LeBron, so is Westbrook. So you got your three main guys are unselfish basketball players, and people can say what they want about Russell Westbrook, stat and pats or whatever, padding stats, but to me, watching Russell 15 years, you could sometimes in a way you could say that, and the reason why I don't like when people say that, because now when you throw that narrative out there, it's just it takes away from his game, his style. So now every time he gets an assist, like, oh yeah, well yeah, he's just trying to get a triple double. He's just trying to get that triple double. That's it. He's not really trying to help his teammate get confidence to make a shot, so he can still keep his confidence going throughout the game. So maybe later on, if he gets the ball, he's confident in making that shot or hitting that free throw or making that dunk.
When Luka
get a triple double, that's all it is.
Yeah, but when Luka bounces it off of the rim at the free throw line to secure the double double, not a word was said. Like,
I mean, people they're gonna pick and choose who they want to critique. That's just the nature of the game.
This is why
Luka will get that criticism as he gets older in his career. He's gonna get that if he's year 10, 11. If he's
the difference between the two though is when Luka did it, he cracked up. He was laughing about it. Like it was a joke to him in a way, and we talked about how he doesn't even really look like he's trying as hard as he can. When Westbrook does it, it's straight face, like, hey, I'm the man, I did that. So I could see where there's a little bit like, wow, he just did that to be stupid or to be funny, ha, let's play it off. But then, you get Westbrook who is doing it with a mean face, if you will, and people are thinking, oh, wow, he's really out here. That's what he is trying to do on purpose, So not saying that it's legit or correct on anything like that, but that could be what's going into it a little bit, just like Luka didn't even care, threw it up there, ha, so it's easy to accept that more when someone laughs, I guess, if you will. But, we're talking about Luka, and it just kind of makes me think, Nick left this guy out because of another person.
Michael, let it go, man.
I'm transitioning here. You left Luka out of your starting for someone who, is he playing yet? But, they've been playing good at least. So the Golden State Warriors have won 3 in a row, and then they've lost their last 2, I think it is, to the Pistons and Magic. Nick, this is your team. Are they finally connecting, getting it back together? Is this older team finally back to what we expected from them without Stephen Curry, who still hasn't been back in a month? Just throwing that out there.
They have been playing better, but I'm not going to get too carried away with it. We've been on a homestand for like the last 2 to 3 weeks. So we're great at home. We have a winning record at home. As far as on the road, different story. So, it's definitely good to take advantage of these home wins, even though we lost to Detroit Wednesday and we just lost to San Antonio last night. But I really want to see what this team is going to be able to do once we get back on the road. And I feel like that's really what it's going to take. So kudos to the Warriors. Klay Thompson had that 50-point game against, or 54-point game against Atlanta last week, so that was definitely a big win. Shout out to Kevon Looney, ended up getting that buzzer beater towards the end of the game. Which, by the way, I don't get this team sometimes because it's like we could have easily closed that game on a high note. Then here comes Atlanta storming in the fourth quarter, so now we got to play catch up, and it's like, bro, what the heck? But either way, man, it is what it is. But like I said, Warriors got to take advantage of these home games. We've been on the home stretch practically since Christmas. So once we get back on the road, then that's really what we're going to see what this team is made of.
Okay, gotcha. CJ, you got anything with the Warriors that you want to talk about them being back, or are we pumping the brakes a little bit?
Yeah, I think they were 13th in the West at one point. Now they're 6th. They're in the top 6 right now. So
oh wow, I didn't realize
Nick made
that.
Yeah, Nick made a great point. Obviously they had a favorable schedule where they're playing at home, and that's their calling card. They've done a great job there throughout the season. We know on the road is where they've struggled, but nonetheless, they've been able to get the W's when it counts, when it matters. I know they took an L last night to Orlando, who they're an interesting team. We'll see what happens with them going forward. I'm sure we'll talk about that in the upcoming weeks. But they're playing good basketball. Clay's playing great. If you guys want to check out an article by our guy Nick Andre, did a great job of talking about Klay Thompson and his resurgence and how well he's playing on the Off the Ball Network. Definitely check that out. Our brother did a great job in breaking that down and talking about how well he's playing right now in Steph Curry's absence. And I think it's great to see he's getting his confidence. He's getting his confidence back, and I think it's just going to be a seamless transition when Steph comes back, because one, we know how great he is off the ball. So it's not going to be an issue to where he's just, hogging the ball and Steph comes back and he's not going to get the ball again. I think it's just going to go right back to that free flowing, high active type of offense for the Warriors. So Poole stepped up. stepped up in his role. He got the bag. Now we want to see what you're going to do after you get the bag. Everybody's watching you now. Everybody say, "Oh yeah, he deserves the bag. Give him the contract. Give him the contract." As soon as you get the moment you sign on that dotted line, from a media outside perspective, everybody's like, "Okay, now you got to go out and perform every single night and do what you need to do." Because then what are they going to say? Overpaid, overrated, doesn't deserve the contract.
Yep.
He thinks he's Steph, but he's not. All those negative narratives that they're going to throw at you once you get paid. It's crazy. Once you get paid, people act up. It's wild.
We start hating.
They start hating once you get your money. It's ridiculous. But they bring you up to tear you down. That's just the nature of the business. But yeah, Poole's playing great. Draymond's is playing solid. The role players are also playing well. So I just think them on the road is going to be a key thing. What they do defensively on the road, because their defensive stats on the road compared to at home, it's just the discrepancy is so large. If they're able to just keep it in the middle at least on the road, I think they'll be all right. So great basketball by Golden State, and we'll see what they do going forward, especially when Dirty comes back.
Mm-hmm. Speaking, of course,
not only 30, but we got to get Wiggins back too. It's another big piece.
Yes. Another big piece. Yes.
Speaking of Steph, of course, we've talked about the All-Stars with that as far as Steph being on there. Have we heard any update on when he may be back? Because at one point it was the 7th yesterday.
Yeah, I haven't seen any updates on when he's coming back. I've checked Shams and Woj. Maybe Nick, obviously, following the squad, he may know more information than us. But for me, I haven't seen anything.
Well, while Nick looks it up and it can inform us, let's go ahead and transition with the All-Star talk that we've got going on here. Guys, I don't know if y'all been looking at it. We'll probably try to combine these two. So, CJ, if you've got like a clip that you want to bring up here, go ahead and get ready for it, because I think put those two topics together, I think will be good. So, obviously, there's 5 Eastern players that will be elected as starters, 5 Western, and then, of course, we'll get the 2 teams. Looks like it's going to be the LeBron team and the Giannis team. And they'll draft from there, a live draft. So with that being said, I'm trying to just stall just a tad bit so CJ may get that up. In the East, it's getting kind of interesting as far as how the voting's going. You've got Kevin Durant, Tatum, Embiid, and Giannis all listed as front court. I want to say they are the only ones that are like 2 million and above in votings. Somebody has to be, we're going to say the word snubbed from the starting lineup. Who do you all think is going to end up being snubbed, or who is deserving to be the 3 front court players in your all's eyes so far as of January 8th at 11 p.m.?
I'm going to say, and this hurts me. I'm not going to lie, this hurts me. And I know a lot of my friends and a lot of people that's watching, they're going to disagree, but I got to say KD got to slide to the bench.
Okay. Uh-oh. Am I the only one that's alive here, or did you all freeze?
No, I'm just trying to get this graphic. You guys can hear me?
Oh, no, like nobody was moving. I was like, I got you guys now.
Okay.
I see you again.
Okay. I don't know if y'all heard me, but if there was one guy that may have to slide to the bench, it's got to be KD, in my opinion. And it's unfortunate because KD's playing phenomenal. This might be the most exciting I've been of KD probably throughout his career, honestly. Like, I'm thinking about the years in OKC, Golden State, but for some reason it's been just really exciting to watch him this year. He's shooting
KD.
career high in field goal percentage. But I don't know, it's like the reason why I'm putting Tatum over him is because Tatum has been mad consistent all season. I mean, KD has been consistent as well, but I guess it's like, I'll play into the factor that the Celtics have been probably the most consistent team throughout the course of this season. They have one of the best records in the league at the moment. And Tatum's been one of the leading candidates for MVP. So, it's going to be a real tight race between those two. I feel like it really trickles down to those two as far as who's going to get that small forward slot. But if I had to choose one or the other, I got to go Tatum at this point, even though I love what KD's done.
What about you, CJ? Who you got being snubbed?
Still trying to pull this up, but
okay. Well, if you want to, I can go ahead.
Yeah. You go first. Yeah, I'll finish up.
Okay. And I think the person that should be snubbed is the one that we're not thinking about saying because we're thinking of a traditional lineup.
Oh no. Don't say it.
I mean, do you really think KD should be snubbed over Embiid? Like, I mean, really?
You gotta have a center.
But see, that's what I'm saying. Traditional lineups here. I mean, it's the All-Star. This lineup may not even be the right one, because they're going to be drafted back and forth. All we are picking is the front court. So, I actually before we started,
I actually thought you were going to say Giannis. That's why I stopped you.
Oh no. As we were talking, I was going to say I think Tatum should be snubbed, but really the way he's played all year and as much talk as we've had him in the MVP talk from CJ's awesome post that he does on Instagram, count the bucket _ for Instagram. It's hard for me to say that Embiid is automatically in there, but just because he's a center, like we don't really have to have centers. If you got Embiid or Giannis on the team, technically on defense, you can let him play the center. I mean, let's just be straightforward. This offense is going to be up and down the court anyways. So there's not going to be any defense. So if I'm going to snub for who actually I feel needs to be snubbed, I'm going to snub Embiid.
That's disrespectful, man.
Why is it disrespectful? You just put KD.
On, I know, but man, come on. I mean, Embiid is averaging 33.5 a game, along with nearly 10 rebounds. He's shooting. What is his shooting splits? He's shooting 53% from the field.
He's a big
both
man.
Inside and out. But he plays outside too, though.
I'm just saying right now, if you could start a franchise team, would you pick KD or would you put Embiid?
Of course, KD. Yes, I mean, of course, KD. But we're talking about the All-Star game. We're not talking about a franchise. We're talking about the All-Star game.
Exactly. So if you would pick him to start a franchise, he has to be a better All-Star than Embiid. So I mean, the only reason why we've never said Embiid.
Yeah, but KD don't play center though.
I'm going to run 2 forwards and 3 guards. I don't have to have a center.
Oh man. I don't know. That's tough.
If they, I don't think this year they're going the positionless basketball route, where they could, do 2 guards, 3 forwards. But this is very difficult. I've really gone back and forth over the last, week or so. Obviously, Tatum has had a phenomenal season this year. It's been, top in my MVP ladder for the majority of the season. KD is right there as well. The way he's playing, Nick just talked about his shooting splits. Giannis is Giannis, Embiid is Embiid. I'm gonna go. Who's gonna get left out? Man, I guess I would say Embiid, man. I would say Embiid. Now by default, he'll probably still make it because he's a center, so he's still gonna be that starter. Mm-hmm. But if it were just me and the way if I were voting and if I had the format the way I saw it, I'd probably have Embiid on the outside looking in, just because again, it's just tough to take Giannis out of there. And the way KD has been playing over this last month, winning 18 out of 20, and really being the catalyst for that, averaging 30, damn near. I just think Embiid might be the odd guy out in that scenario.
I mean, Embiid is playing well too over his last recent stretch. He's had probably 4 or 5 40-point games over the last few weeks.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult. It really sucks. Somebody's gonna have to. Somebody's not gonna be a starter, just because the East is just so stacked. It's so stacked now, man.
See, Michael, this was the trouble that I was having in the West, but you keep giving me slack about it.
Your players still not back.
Okay, but when I made the list, they were all healthy. Okay, Steph wasn't. Steph wasn't. But Booker was.
The guy that you're defending was hurt when you made it.
But he was gonna come back.
He's still gonna come back. I think now with KD getting hurt, I think now it just makes it easier. For that, kind of answers the question now. If KD,
do you think it's that serious though?
We'll see. I'm hearing people saying MCL sprain like last year. I'm seeing contusion. So hopefully it's a contusion and not a MCL sprain. Mm-hmm. Because if that's an MCL sprain, we're looking at 2 months, 6 to 8 weeks of missed time, just to be on the safe side. Obviously, with KD's history with lower extremities. So yeah, if it's a short term if it's short term where he's just missing like a couple games, then we got to go right back to this conversation. But if he does miss some time, I think it just kind of just figures itself out just because he'll be out.
So what do we think about guard play? Are we okay with everything on it?
Kyrie and Donovan.
Yeah, Kyrie D-Mitch.
Definitely, I think so.
It's a lock.
Yeah, especially with.
I did originally pick Trae Young, but no, I think he's got to go to Kyrie.
Especially with this last, we'll say, stint that he's been playing. I mean, 71 points. He is literally carrying that team by himself, which they have good team. They have good players, but like right now, Donovan is amazing. So, yeah, I think Donovan Mitchell is the hands-down favorite on this. Kyrie's been playing wonderful as well. What about the West? Do we think Steph Curry should be the number one person over here? I'm not going to answer. I'm just going to ask.
I told you guys that this was going to happen.
Yeah, of course he's going to get all the votes. I mean, he's him and LeBron are two most popular players.
Okay, did you all see the number 10 on the front court in the Western Conference?
I actually can't even see the list. It's like really small.
Kevon Looney. Yeah,
it's Looney. It's Looney.
Yeah, so the front court is LeBron, Jokic, Anthony Davis, Zion, Andrew Wiggins. Come on, Paul George, Laurie Markkinen, Draymond Green. Stop it. Kawhi Leonard and Kevon Looney. So we got three Warrior front court players in the Western Conference front court. Stop it.
Yeah, they're not getting in. I mean, we all know that.
Big bias.
Which is, it's the same. Like it's Golden State's voting Steph Curry in.
I mean, this has happened before. I mean, I remember a few years ago, Alex Caruso was top 10 in All-Star votes, but he never got to the All-Star game.
Okay, so you're considering Caruso and Curry in the same conversation. Okay, just making sure. But no, to me it should be Ja and Luka right now. Do y'all not agree? Even SAG?
Nope.
SGA. So you think Stephen Curry should be, without a doubt, the starter for the Western Conference, even though he's still not playing in a month.
Him and Luka. It's what the fans want. They do it for the fans. You want to see Steph Curry. Regardless, Steph Curry could be out for the rest of the first half of the season, and he can make his return to All-Star game. You're going to want to see him bomb half-court shots.
Absolutely want to see it, but is he an all-star this year? He's not played in a month.
He is. Go look at his numbers before he got hurt.
I'm going to look at his numbers now. Oh, there are no numbers.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Oh, man.
So that's just. Am I too strong on this? Like,
so should Brooklyn
not
be an all-star either?
No, he's not playing. Like, if he makes All-Star, we know he's going to say, "I'm sitting this one out." So what else has to take my place? That's not fair,
though. It's like, injuries are part of the game. It's like guys are going to miss time. It's like for instance, like if KD decides if KD's hurt right now, let's say for instance the injury may push him till probably a week before All-Star break. Should he not make the All-Star team?
I mean, he's not an All-Star. He's hurt. He can't play in it.
For me, it's just starter, not all-star team altogether. Yeah. All-star team altogether, absolutely. Is the Steph Curry all-star this year? Absolutely. Is he a starter? No, because again, he missed some time. But is he going to make the all-star team? Of course,
hands down, because of the fans.
Yeah. I mean, and before he got hurt, he was averaging 30.
He was doing great before. He was doing great before.
Hey, bro, you're a bum.
I'm sorry. Did you say I'm smart? I couldn't hear this speaker. It's been
I'm talking to somebody watching right now. You're a bum.
Oh, okay.
Somebody in the comments.
I got it on full screen.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was full screen. I was like, why?
No, I want to talk about you.
Okay, yeah.
Put that up. What they say?
Hey, right here.
Putting it up right here. I got you. It says KD is a bum, a washed bum.
We got one of these guys.
Yes, besides the mid-range jumper, what else is he? An all-star starter. That's for one. A $1 million person. Top at least 7 player in the MVP candidate right now, I would say. CJ, we haven't got to there, but I don't know where you've got him ranked. So, yeah, to just say that he's a bum with no stats or anything to go by, that's, as CJ
Besides,
said.
what argument, besides that mid-range jumper, what? Oh, my God. This is people who do not watch basketball. This is people who don't watch.
Yeah, don't get triggered by that, bro. Come on.
I know. It's just funny.
I mean, thank you for joining the stream and commenting, but, like, that's okay, I guess. Like, but back to the real point, like, Curry can't be a starter because he's not played in a month. It should be given. Like, quit voting for him as starter caliber, and let's have someone who can actually start the gameplay. So that's where I'm at. How do you all feel on that?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that with the starter situation. I do feel like Ja and Luka should be the starting guards to start the game. I just feel like it's obvious. It's obvious at this point just because Steph missed a lot of time. Just has missed a few games.
Nick, I don't know if you heard what he said. He said it's obvious. Obvious.
I honestly wasn't paying attention. I just took a picture of these comments. My bad. What were y'all saying?
Why is he a co-host with us? He don't even listen to us.
He's about to get homie on blast. You put homie on blast.
Do you know who he is?
Jumper, what is he?
I don't know who the guy is.
Okay, yeah.
I have no clue.
You're letting it eat at you. So let's just continue on. We're almost
let me ask you guys this. You think Paolo's gonna make the All-Star team?
I want him to, but he's probably not gonna get in.
Is he? I can't see the voting. Is he even on the top?
Yeah, he's 8th.
8th.
Yeah.
I wrote an article
like Kuzma.
Wait, what was that?
What'd you say, CJ?
No, I didn't.
I don't know what's going on here. I don't know if anyone's talking. It just kind of has died on us here. So I would say that I don't care if he's not in it. I won't be hurt about it. It'd be great for a rookie to be in it, I think. I'll say that at least.
I'll say this. If he's not in it this year, he'll more likely – I think he'll get in next year.
Even if he's hurt, he'll still get in according to Nick. That's when he's deserving.
Injuries are part of the game, Michael.
Yeah, it is. So you have to take those into effect. Like, if you can't say an injury hurts that part, then you have to say, hold up. Like, we've got to go back when Milwaukee won the championship. Like, there were some injuries. We got to wait and let them be healthy to figure out who the real champion is. The injury's part of the game. Like, it's going to keep him out of it.
You're talking about something totally different. We're talking about an all-star game. This is a one game every year. This is one game. This is not a 7-game series. This is one all-star game. So you're telling me
FS1. FS1, give my guys, man. Replace Skip and Shannon, man. They're good. Are you ready?
Oh my God! What Shannon say? Shannon
Skip and Shannon out.
I ain't gonna interrupt you on my first monologue or whatever he said. Oh my God!
FS1, I got 2 candidates for the new undisputed host right here.
CJ, you're with us because this guy don't even listen to me talk. He falls asleep.
Let's go, Jen.
When you're talking about the Bulls, he falls asleep, and now he's like, well, I don't even know what you were saying. I was screenshotting, playing on his phone while we're trying to debate on live television internet.
We are on television. We're on the big screen. StreamYard is the big screen.
So listen, it's almost 11:30. I'm about ready for bed, but I want to at least get into our MVP MIPs if you don't care. So I say we skip over the Gobert and the Suns because I don't want to badmouth the Suns. So let's
I don't really want to talk about Gobert.
Does that sound good?
Let's do it.
Yeah. It's cool, man.
All right. So, CJ, you want me to go first with my MIP because I feel like the MVP is more of an interesting thing than MIPs, just to be all truthful.
Yeah, it's good, bro.
Okay. So, for this week on MIPs, I don't have the screen brought up, and I apologize. I should have been working on that.
My connection is a little choppy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for this week, and I got it right here looking at the picture. I've got Laurie number 1. I've got SGA as number 2, Halliburton number 3, and I got Simon at 4. And then I brought in a new guy at the 5th spot for the Spurs, Keldon Johnson. That's actually in the order that I got him. And here's the reason. For the whole season, it's still SGA in my opinion, but I'm kind of taking it week by week with a little bit of effect of what they did in the past. I want to say he set out 2 games this week, so some of his numbers were down for the week. Lauri Markkanen had, I want to say, 2, maybe 3 30-point games this week, and I went into a little of the New Year's as well. Just really been balling it out, really leading that Jazz team out of nowhere. Halliburton, I think, had 1 game this week where he had 4 points, and that was pretty much it. So I moved him quite a bit ways down. Simon's still playing great. And then, of course, Keldon Johnson had, I want to say, a 30-point game himself a couple of times in the past 2 weeks. So I did back up a little bit with him because I said last week that I was wanting to put him in my top 5 for a game that he played last week. So I just kind of mushed them together because I didn't do one. So that's where I had it. Bol dropped out of my top 5 this week. He's not been playing very well as of lately. Minutes have definitely dropped tremendously. I don't know what's going on there, but that's my top 5 for this week, and I think it's the week 11.
Week 11 MVP ladder. Oh, you want to go? You want to react? Let's react. Yeah.
Yeah. Man,
I appreciate it.
Disrespect my guy Bobo, man. What you doing?
I mean, I actually
joking.
wrote the stat. Okay.
Yeah, I'm joking, honestly. Keldon Johnson is actually a good addition. He's been one of the more underrated pieces, I think, as far as, for that San Antonio team, because I don't think they get a lot of love because the ceiling isn't as high as like the other young rising teams like Orlando or Detroit. So Keldon Johnson being on the list is very impressive. He's been pretty impressive over the last few years, and he's just continuing to elevate. So overall, solid list, Michael.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Solid list. I think in a week or so we might see Thomas Bryant on this list. I mean, just the way he's playing right now, and just what he's done in a Laker uniform, his second opportunity being a Laker, and how he's capitalized on that moment. I think he definitely could possibly crack in Michael's top 5 for MIP. Week 11 MVP ladder. Number 5, I got Jason Tatum at 5. Jason Tatum at 5, and it's not really anything in terms of critique or anything negative. It's just the 4 guys above him. I feel like this last week are really playing lights out. He's still playing at a high level. He could easily be number 1 next week. That's just how fluid this list has been for me. Just watching these guys. We just talked about earlier in the show about the offensive surge that's going on, and all 5 of the guys on my list have played a big part of that. So. He's continued to play at a high level. The Celtics are still at the top of the Eastern Conference, so I still have him on my MVP ladder at 5. Number 4, I got Giannis Antetokounmpo. Struggled a little bit against Charlotte. That was a weird one. 9 points, 3 turnovers. I guess that game against Charlotte, but he did have the 50-point game, 50 points, 20 rebounds, and I think he followed up with 30 with a 30-point triple double. So this guy is just playing insane. He said he likes that his game has become boring. That means he's doing something great. And I think, to me, I don't view his game as boring. I think I view it as dominant. I think people are just so used to him just doing this now. We just become so accustomed to it. But it's just you can't stop him. I said earlier, the paint is so sweet, and he's just dominating the paint. They have nobody wants to stay in front of him. Nobody can stay in front of him. So he's going to continue to put these numbers up, and he's going to continue to be an impact, have an impact for the Milwaukee Bucks. Number 3, I got to go Luka Doncic. Just a walking 30-point trip dub. That's just what he is. Just a walking 30-point triple double. You can't stop him. You can't stop. You get to the line, get to his spots. The Mavericks have really turned it around. I mean, earlier, what's going on, Perry? What's going on, man? Thanks for stopping by, brother. He's really turned it around. He's really the Mavericks earlier in the season were like, what's going on? You can't put Luka in your MVP discussions, and they're like, 9th in the West. What are you doing, CJ? Well, okay, that's a solid point. He's putting up stats, but they're not winning. Now, they're in the mix. They're right there in the mix. They've done a great job defensively. Christian Wood, there's times where he looks phenomenal, and there's other times where he looks like where are you? Yeah, Luka's been playing great. Maybe not trash, but not to the level we expect.
Did you just say Luka's trash?
No, you're saying for Christian.
He's
Wood.
not listening
Christian
again.
Wood.
Oh my goodness. We're gonna have to have a meeting after this.
Meeting after that.
Well, no, I saw Perry's message, and then you said trash right after. I was like, whoa, what?
Nah, but yeah, Christian Wood. Hopefully they could find that consistency for to try to find that Robin for Luka, but he's just it's just nothing you could do. Nothing you could do. His game is just suits the style of the NBA today, and he's just going to continue to be dominant going forward. And
absolutely,
we'll see. Ethan, what's going on, man? Good to see you, bro. Hope all is well. Hope all is well, man. So I got Luka at 3. 2, got to go Jokic, the Joker. Just the Nuggets, number 1 in the Western Conference right now.
Oh,
I know he just went back-to-back MVPs, and he could easily go for the hat trick. Last person to go 3 in a row, I believe, was Bird. So he could. That's uncharted territory. Uncharted territory is able to go 3 in a row, like Larry. Again, walking 34 triple double. I mean, I think it's gonna be Westbrook, Jokic, and Doncic. When it's all said and done, in the triple double list all time, we're seeing it now. That's what it's going to be. I think LeBron will be in there too, but those 3 guys, or those 2 guys right now, the way they're playing, the game is just so easy. It's just so easy for them. They get to their spots. You can't stop them. There really isn't anybody. There's no one in the league that can stop Jokic. There's no one in the league that can stop Jokic, especially with his ability to pass the basketball too. His
IQ is just so much better than anyone else. Like, he's playing chess while everyone else is almost playing like checkers.
I'll really be interested to see who taught him the game of basketball. That I would really, really want to know. Maybe I might do some research to see if he's done an interview somewhere where he's been asked.
I hate to interrupt. Yeah, I'm sorry about interrupting as you're doing your top 5, but did y'all see where Luka they were asking him about NBA games? He said, I actually watch more EuroLeague than I do NBA. Unless it's a good game on TV, then I'll watch the NBA game, but I usually watch EuroLeague more. Like, wow.
This man don't take the A serious, man.
I believe it. Again, we had Justin on saying the same thing, really something similar. People feel like, the Euro, it's more enjoyable to watch. Because of the style of play, the ball movement, and things like that. So I'm not surprised he would say that. And also, EuroLeague MVP at 17. So obviously, I'm pretty sure he knows a lot about that league. And Jokic, again, back to Jokic too, is just Perry just said it too. Both of those guys are unicorns. Just 100% facts. It's just you just never seen those guys play like this. And then number 1, even though he got hurt tonight, gotta go Kevin Durant. Just
the one that Nick snubs. Okay, gotcha.
The one that Nick these guys are not Nick, man.
It's the CJ's list.
You're right.
He's career highs. Since he's come back after turning the Achilles, he's been career highs in everything. Points, you name it. We talked about the shooting splits earlier on. I think it's 53, 37, 93 off the top. Could be wrong. Could be a little off, but either way, it's just phenomenal. And the one, just how he's playing. He's a walking bucket. Get to his spots. He's playing great defense. I think he's rebounding the ball a lot better this year. I think he's understanding that you're 7 foot tall. I think you could average more than 6 rebounds.
Yeah,
that'd be great. Get the rebound, start the break.
He could play center.
Maybe not center, but but definitely more. I would like more than 5 rebounds for my 6'11" small forward that could do everything else. But yeah, he's the boards are up, the assists are up. He's playing defense. He's playing with the effort is there, the leadership is there. I don't know if you guys have seen that clip with him and Jacques Vaughn. Yeah, talking about let's get Kyrie to rock. I saw Nick tweet out a couple days ago. He was like, KD's so selfless. He knows he just lets Kyrie get that last shot where he can easily take that shot and rise up and get the bucket. So his leadership now It's something that I've really been impressed by. You know, back in Oklahoma City, he was kind of just a lead by example guy, kind of quiet, reserved. But now I think he's a lot more vocal. You're seeing it, and I think it's definitely reflecting on the team. Prayers up to him. Hopefully he could come back and get healthy as soon as possible. Hopefully it's nothing serious. But that's my top five for my top 5 MVPs for week 11, man.
There ain't nobody mad at that list.
I ain't mad at it. Thanks.
All right, Nikolai. That's the first time I said it. Nikolai, come on. What do you hate about that list?
I don't hate anything about that. I mean, Kevin Durant's not my personal MVP, but I mean, CJ alludes to a lot of great points. Kevin Durant's having a phenomenal season, so you know he's not at the top of my MVP list, but I mean you can't be mad at it. But overall, not too bad of a list. It's unfortunate, you know, because I kind of feel the same way. I think Tatum, even though Tatum's had a good year, I do think that he's dropping just because, at least numbers wise and impact wise, it hasn't been the same as like Luka, Jokic, or anybody else. But I was also surprised Ja. I don't think I heard Ja on your list. I think Ja dropped a little bit.
Yeah, Ja didn't make it this week. Again, it's really close, man. I mean, I really could have put Ja at 5. I really could have put Ja right there at 5. But yeah, it's
how come Steph didn't make your list?
Hey, guess what?
If he comes back and goes on a tear,
definitely. As I said, that first week he comes back
when he's playing. Yes,
first week comes back, he goes bananas. 1,000%. Making a list.
Michael's the guy where all the stars get injured throughout the season. He wants to see guys like Gobert in the All-Star game. He wants to see guys like I don't know Zubac in the All-Star game.
I'm good.
Because they're healthy.
Hey, if they're the all-star that's available, then they're the ones that's the all-star. But with that being said, guys, we are almost at 2 hours. I think it's time we wrap it on up. It's 11:30 p.m. my time. It might be different. Nick, I think you're an hour behind us. So just again, want to backtrack a little bit and say thank you to Grace for coming on their show way earlier today. If you guys missed that, especially you guys listening later on a podcast, please go back to the beginning and watch that. She lives up in Michigan, went to Michigan and Central Michigan. Now she has worked her way from internship to actually working as staff member for the Detroit Pistons. Gave great information about the grind that she's done and how you can do things like that as well. The different opportunities that you can have in the NBA team or NBA organization through teams and different things like that. I think it was brand and event planner. Is that what it was?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Yep. So she was talking about her her short career that she had with the Detroit Pistons, the brand and event planner for them. I talked about some great things that they've done there. Just the all moments of having all of her T-shirts that she had made up be set out there on opening day and see the fans fill them and wear them. So it's a great opportunity that if there's something that you like about the NBA as far as business, go listen to that. Also, she mentioned teamworkonline.com is a great way where some of these NBA entities are posting jobs on that. So I definitely want to keep trying to use this LinkedIn to try to get some more people on here and hear from other people at different teams and just hear what they have witnessed or what they've been a part of. And I think it's a cool thing to kind of make a segment, if you will. But with that being said, go follow us on all of our social medias. Of course, follow us, count the bucket _ is for Instagram. We are on pretty much everything. Podcast, you can go listen to us on Spotify, Apple Pod, iHeartRadio, the whole 9 yards on that. Twitter is CountBucketUSN. And, of course, myself is MDLawson00, where you can follow my social medias as well. My link tree is in the bio and all that as well. So please go give me a follow, give Count the Bucket a follow and all that stuff. Nick, where can we follow you?
Yes, first and foremost, make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Listen to us on whatever platform that you guys listen to your podcast. Give us 5-star reviews. I think that we are deserving of that.
Absolutely.
Follow me on Twitter at NickAndreATR. Follow me on Instagram at _NickAndreATR. Check out the website, WeCountTheBucket.wordpress.com. Pretty good pieces on there. Dropped 2 of them this week. One of them I'm kind of upset I wasn't able to because the player ended up getting hurt, but it's all good. Yeah, it was Zion. I'm going to say it was Zion. It's all good though, but yeah, just make sure to check everything out.
recountthebucket.wordpress.com, man. Check that out, man. Got some great articles on the website. Like Nick just alluded to, Linktree/CJames9, everything that I'm working on. Count the Bucket, the hard count with my guy Anthony Conover. Back at it on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you guys check us out, covering all things NFL. And yeah, man, just make sure you hit that like button, subscribe button as well, notifications for the next time we go live. Your support is definitely appreciated. Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, let's go ahead and close it on out. Guys, thank you again so much, and you all have a great day.
Deuces.